Uncovered podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And today we're covering episode 35, The Shape of This Country.
Yes, in this episode, Ed uncovers a conspiracy of staggering scope, a plot that has already claimed countless victims. Clues suggest that Fort Briggs will soon know bloodshed, and an entire nation will suffer.
Alright, and this covers the manga chapter 66, The Snow Queen, and chapter 67, Burgeoning Borders.
Alright, let's just jump right in. We jump right back to the fight between Sloth and Fort Briggs. Olivier is going to show the Elrics the Briggs way, and also going to force them to be part of their plan. Buccaneer picks up Ed and puts a gun to his head, and he's like, just in case you're questioned, then you can say that you were forced to help us.
Yeah, and in the manga, the point is made that everyone in Briggs is trustworthy, and Buccaneer trusts Ed and Al because they helped protect his comrades.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then Fullman is also forced to help because he's friends with Ed and Al.
This poor guy gets roped into everything.
Yes. I feel like he really does, because he
knows Mustang, and then he knows Ed and Al. He's not.
Yeah,
he helps
he was
them.
the one that was forced to watch
babysit
over.
Mary the Chopper.
Yeah,
he's just there, and they make him do stuff.
Mm-hmm. We do learn that he's been promoted though from warrant officer to second lieutenant. At least in the manga, they say that.
Second lieutenant, yeah, isn't that Riza's ranking too?
I think it was. Doesn't she at some point become first lieutenant?
Did she get promoted when she was repositioned with the Fears team?
Maybe.
I'm not sure if that's a promotion. But anyway.
Yeah. The Fort Briggs enacts their plan to destroy Sloth, and they push him into an elevator, and which requires 3 tanks, and they take him to gate 8, and there Buccaneer and Ed and Al and Fullman are waiting. Buccaneer is super strong because he just
he judo flips Sloth over his shoulder.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then Ed and Al and Fullman dump fuel on him. And then Olivier brings the tank up, and it's awesome. She drives past, or they drive past Buccaneer, and he salutes her, and they shoot Sloth, and then Ed and Al kick him off the balcony. And this is where we learn that the oil is specially designed for the cold, and it basically sucks the body heat out of you instantly, and Sloth freezes in the cold.
Yeah, and just in case you're wondering if that really defeats him, in the manga it's stated that later soldiers take turns dumping more oil on him to make sure he stays frozen, and they move him to a shady spot so that, the sun can't melt him.
Mm-hmm. And then Olivier imprisons the Elrics for not being truthful. I don't know. They are prisoners, but not really, because the soldiers come and thank them for protecting their comrades, and it's very sweet. Then we see Kimblee recovering from the injury that Scar gave him, and Major Miles visits him and gives him an update on Scar, and Kimblee tells the North soldiers to stay out of chasing after Scar. He was just telling them about Scar, but they can't help him. But Miles is like, nope, we're not going to do that. North doesn't want a mass murderer running around. And then, he's trying to intimidate Kimblee. He takes off his glasses and reveals his red Ishvalan eyes. And Kimblee is surprised.
I love the face he made, because at first he was shocked, and then once Miles got closer to him, he made kind of this face, scrunching away, I know I'm in trouble, I don't want to look you in the eye anymore kind of face. In the manga, he just looks, I don't know, annoyed. And also surprised, and that's it.
Yeah. But then Miles leaves, and we see General Raven comes, and he's brought a doctor with a golden tooth, who we have seen before in Hero Bradley's backstory. and he has come to heal Kimblee so he can keep hunting down Scar.
Yeah. That doctor, he reminds me of the doctor from My Hero Academia. You probably haven't seen him so much, Meg, because you need to watch the new season pretty soon. But there's a doctor, Dr. Garaki, who is just always there. And he plays a fairly big role in the new season, but it's just kind of like, that minion, that weird old guy who's just with the villains.
Okay, you know what? Who he reminds me of?
What?
That one. I don't remember what vegetable he is from VeggieTales. The one that sings the cheeseburger song.
Wait, Mr. Lunt? Who's the lemon? Is your my cheeseburger?
Wait, let me.
Wait. Yeah, he did have a gold tooth. That's right.
Yeah, wait. Let me share.
Somebody please lip sync that guy to the cheeseburger song.
Let me share.
You make a meme of that?
This.
Except that guy didn't have the stash. He didn't have like the.
Yeah, he doesn't have the stash, but there's like the gold tooth and like his coloring and even like his hair. I don't know why. I mean,
the creepy teeth too.
Yeah.
That early CG animation with like the absolutely straight teeth. I can't breathe.
There you go.
Oh, I know why you were making a face.
Yeah, because I was like, he definitely looks familiar to me, but I don't know why. And then
Awesome. If you know, you know.
All right. Yeah, maybe we'll make a meme and share that. Then we go to Marco and May, and they're still in that like abandoned house, and they're talking about alchemy and alchemy. And May is telling Marco that alchemy is based on the chi of the land, or like the flow of power, which flows through everything, and they call it the dragon's pulse, which
it's the force.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. And then like it's funny, she like shows him like the flow by like poking him in different
from pressure points.
Yeah, pressure points, and he he doesn't appreciate it. And then Marco tells May that alchemy is different. It uses energy or from like the movement of the Earth's crust. And May, she's like, it doesn't exactly feel like that. It more feels like a crowd of people squirming, which is creepy.
Well, I just had a thought though. If she's using chi, would you say that alchemy is more of like geothermal kind of power?
Kind of. I don't know.
In a way, but not totally, because like the movement of the tectonic, that's not.
That's
completely.
Yeah, that's.
I'm just trying to think of like the real world correlations, because you could say that chi might be sort of like, I don't know, think of acupuncture. There is like something to the whole pressure point system of the body and what that controls and all that stuff. But there's a lot of,
I know that
mysticism involved too.
I don't know, the alchemy reminds me more of like the flow of water, where it's like,
oh, okay, yeah,
precipitation, and then, oh my gosh, I don't remember.
Precipitation, condensation, evaporation, all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but general science course was too many years ago.
Second grade.
Yeah, just like the flow of the elements, I guess. And then we go back to Fort Briggs. The soldiers are exploring the hole that Sloth came out of, and they find like nothing. It just seems to go on forever, and there's like no signs of life. So then Olivier calls for horses, and they bring the Elrics, and Buccaneer and Pullman also all go down into the hole, and the Elrics and Pullman are tied up.
For show.
Yeah, for sure. I really like in the manga, like I love Olivier, but I think they portray her even better in the manga, because like Olivier mentions that like when she's holding the Elrics captive, like it's actually her way of protecting them so that they can say she forced us to like give her the information, and I don't know, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
it started to go somewhere and then it just like died.
It fizzled.
Yeah, yeah, that's all I had to say. Anyway, while they're down in the hole, Olivier is telling them that no one has broken into the fort since she's been there. But 20 years ago, some woman stole food and supplies for a month, and then we see that that it's Azumi who did that.
And Ed and Al know, but they're not going to say anything.
No, no. And then when they get far enough into the away from everything, Olivier interrogates them again, and she's like, "Just tell me everything."
You can
Because
speak now that
yeah, no
we're
one's gonna hear. And
alone.
I also like in the manga she I think Ed says something like he's like when he won't explain why they can't tell, he's like, try to understand. And just from just from those words, Olivier was able to figure out that there were hostages at
Yes, there was something keeping them from offering
yeah.
information.
Yeah, and it wasn't that like they just refused to tell her. It was just that like they trusted her and they wanted to tell her, but they couldn't
Yeah,
because
the way Ed said it made her think
uh
there was something more to it. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it just shows that she's like she does, even though she has like this hard exterior, she does care, and she's also very good at she's very smart. She's like
Yeah, she's
reading between
perceptive.
the lines and like yeah, just like yes, amazing. Um So the Elrics tell her everything, and after she hears everything, she's like, "Oh, we worked with the Eastern Command Center, and I like Hawkeye and Havoc, and I don't want to lose them." And then they're like, "What about Mustang?" She's like, "I don't care about him. In fact, I hope he gets destroyed because that's one less rival for me."
And in the manga, Ed, Al, and Fulman are like, hang in there, Colonel.
And then they start discussing what the hole is, and Ed thinks that it's an enormous circle, and he asks for a map and asks Fulman to like tell him all the major events that happened in Amestris with bloodshed, and he starts like circling them. And during this, they find out about Lior and the uprising that happened after they helped the people there, and it's sad. Ed is hurt. He's like, I helped them, and then
And something terrible happened to
yeah,
them, and
yeah,
I couldn't do anything to stop it.
yeah. After they finish circling all the events, they connect the dots and they see that it forms this giant transmutation circle. The entire country forms this giant transmutation circle that matches the one that they saw in the fifth lab. And so this is
Am I,
like the
am I the only one who, when they were connecting the dots, they must have been connecting them in order when the events happened.
Mhm.
But in my mind, I was like, cross the map, a vertical diagonal,
Yeah,
making a star.
yeah, no, when I during that scene, I was like, okay, how if you like weren't an alchemist, I feel like you just like be connecting things and be like, oh, like I took
It
totally
must
what
have
I
been
do.
in order, like by the date,
Mm,
though. That's what I was
yeah,
thinking.
maybe I don't know.
Ed,
um,
that's not a circle, it's a star. What are you
yeah, he just sees what he wants to see.
doing?
Actually, there's
Brother,
no
no.
conspiracy here. Yeah, so the big reveal is that the whole country um is a giant transmutation circle. And they're like, what is this for? And I think Buccaneer asks like, how many people is it gonna, take to make a philosopher's stone this big? Um or right, that's what
Like,
he says.
and why? Like, what?
Yeah.
There's so many people. What's the purpose for this huge
Mm-hmm.
philosopher's stone? And like, just thinking of the scale of it and like how powerful that stone is going to be.
Mm-hmm. And then they also figure out that the military has been involved in every single one of these uprisings or coups d'etats, and specifically the Central Forces. Uh, And basically, like, that's why this country was founded, was to make this transmutation circle. This is when the Elrics figure out that this is why Hughes was killed. He figured this out on his own, which he's very smart. Which
Can you imagine if he had been alive throughout all? He would have. This show would be a lot shorter.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, transmutation circle. These people are bad, and then it would have been over.
Roll credits, people. Let's go.
Yep. And while they're discussing this, a messenger comes and says that General Raven has come to visit Olivier. And we see that Kimblee has also arrived, and he's been like healed, and Miles is surprised because he just saw him in the hospital bed.
He's on death's doorstep.
Yeah. Olivier and General Raven meet, and we can see that there's like this microphone up in like the ceiling, and we see that Ed, Al, Fullman, and Buccaneer are listening in on the conversation. And I love this. Yeah, it's amazing. Awesome. Olivier is like plays weak. She's like, the Elrics won't tell me anything, and I can't stomach torturing these children. And then she's like, I wanted children of my own, but I fear that it's too late for me.
Okay. First thing, I hate the femme fatale trope, like women using their womanly wiles to like convince men to do things or get information. But this is done right. This is a good one. This is like the girl would kick his butt, just playing all like sunshine and roses and like flirting and like all the while she's going, I'm tricking you. But I love her line in the manga. She goes, I am a woman after all. It was too painful for me to even contemplate hurting a child. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And Buccaneer goes, that's a good one for the Queen of the Heart of Ice.
Amazing. And General Raven is trying to console her. He's like, men must be lining up. And Olivia's like, no, they're not. And then this kind of leads Olivier to be like, I'm very impressed with the Sloth immortal body. It's a dream to have a body that doesn't age and can live forever. And General Raven then asks if she's interested in a legion of immortal soldiers.
Which, if you'll remember, is the same question he asked Grumman, and Grumman said no, he got like demoted for it.
Yes. And that is where the episode ends.
All right. I am very excited to go for voice acting notes. So, the first one we're going to do is Sloth. He is played by Patrick Seitz, who is Endeavor from My Hero Academia, Keith Shadis from Attack on Titan, and Shamil Volkov from Dr. Stone. And the next one, he's not, I'm not sure if they ever say his name, but he is named on the wiki. He's the guy that talks to Ed and Al when they're in the jail cell, and he has the headband with the flame decals on it. His name is Neil, and he's played by Justin Cook, who is Eijiro Kirishima from My Hero Academia, Hatsuharu Soma from Fruits Basket, and Russell Tringham from the original FMA. And I just have to insert a couple of notes here. So, Russell Tringham, he is a semi-canon character because he was in one of the FMA light novels, which was a really good one. So the episode in the original FMA was either based on the light novel or vice versa. But basically, he's a kid around Ed and Al's age, and he also has a younger brother. And he and his younger brother pretend to be the Full Metal Alchemist for a short time. For reasons. I ended up really liking those characters, but it's an interesting story if you want to check it out. And also, we met Justin Cook at Comic-Con, and I slightly fangirled. He is the nicest man, and he's very sweet. He treats all of the convention goers with just big smile on his face, and he wants to talk to everybody. So I really appreciated that. But when we got up to his table, I was trying not to spend too much money at Comic-Con. So I swore that I would only get, like one thing signed and pay for that. And once I saw his posters, I was like, I need a Hatsuharu. Hatsuharu. So got that signed. And Hatsuharu is the cow from the Zodiac in Fruits Basket. So he wrote Moo on my poster. And he wrote, like, thank you so much, Megan. And I gave him some fan art of Haru, and he really liked it. Yeah, I like protected that poster with my life after we left the table.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I enjoyed meeting everybody, but he was definitely one of the best people to meet.
Just
he was
really
so nice, and
yeah.
also you could tell he actually enjoyed he actually likes anime. We went to his
he talked about the shows he likes.
Yeah. When we went to his panel.
Yeah. And fun fact, he is Aaron Dismuke's cousin, and he got Aaron into voice acting. So thank you, Justin. But yeah, so going back to the character he plays, Neil, his name is of Irish origin and it means champion or passionate. But anyway, now we're gonna go to our tracking. Homunculus deaths. I'm gonna say Sloth died at least once because his entire body froze. Whether or not that killed him was unclear, but that's pretty severe. So
I would say it killed him because in the manga they mentioned that it even froze his brain. So
okay, he was brain dead. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then animation expertise. I've got a small note. It's really quirky, but in the scene where Marco and May are talking, I noticed the way each of them was sitting. So Marco was sitting with crossed legs underneath him, and May was sitting on her heels. It's an example of Western versus Eastern. So if you watch enough anime, you'll notice that the Japanese characters tend to like sit on their heels. And Westerners, we don't really do that. We're not really used to that. And it's not really put to the forefront of animation a lot of times. So I thought it was really neat that they took the time to animate that a Westerner was sitting with crossed legs and an Easterner was sitting with her legs folded beneath her. It was just great attention to detail. Another show that does that is Skate the Infinity. Longa, one of the characters, is from Canada, and he goes into like a shop or something looking for a job, and he's talking to the manager, and they're sitting on the ground like that with their legs folded beneath them. And when he gets out, he just walks down the street and has this throwaway line. He has this throwaway line like, I can't feel my legs.
Yeah, I've sat like that, and it is not comfortable.
You got to get used to it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Another thing that we wanted to talk about was just the transmutation circles, because I talked about that. And in the manga, Ed just mentions that the alchemical circle is a symbolic and literal conduit for the flow of power, which Marco and May were talking about earlier in the episode as well. So the transmutation circle, it's as we know, it's a necessary part of the transmutation, except for Ed and Al and Zumi. They everybody needs a transmutation circle to do alchemy. And these are they can be drawn on the spot or permanently etched or inscribed beforehand. And as Ed said, the circle is a conduit which focuses and the flow and directs the flow of power. And it's using energy that's already in the earth inside the circle. You notice they're not all the same. And these are specific alchemical ruins, and they're based on the studies, texts, and experimentation. And the runes that are inside the circle are different, do a different thing than the circle itself, because the circle is drawing on the power of drawing on the flow of power, while like the ruins on the inside are meant to focus the energy so that it can be released in a specific way, based on what the alchemist is trying to do.
Okay.
I also wanted to briefly talk about, like, they mentioned the fifth laboratory transmutation circle that they saw, which I think, I don't know, so in this, on like the Full Metal Alchemist wiki like website, they call that the Grand Arcanum Array. Do they
I
actually
don't think
call
we've
that?
gotten to that yet. They will probably
Okay,
later.
that's what I was
So
gonna
let's
say.
not
Like,
say that.
I can't remember if they say that, and it's like, did they say that just in the original or also in the, okay.
They might get to that later, so we better not.
I'll just leave this then. I will come back
Okay.
to it later. Because there's other things that I want to talk about too, but like I can't really talk
We
about it
can
without
spread it
giving
out.
things,
Yeah.
away. So we will talk about this later. And that's all I have for now about alchemy, because we can't talk about too much more without giving stuff away. So that is the end of the episode. Now we can go to our favorite line of the episode. Megan, what was yours?
Mine was when the Briggs soldiers came to Ed and Al when they were in the jail cell, and they said, "Well, here at Briggs, we have to look out for each other. You saved our pals back there, so that makes you our pal as well." And I thought that was really sweet. So, what was your favorite line?
So my favorite line was from Major Miles, when he was talking to Kimblee and like threatening him, and he's like, "You get careless and you get dead."
Words to live by.
Yes, yes. What did we learn in this episode?
Be careful who you trust, but be sure to open up to the people who deserve it. Just like Ed and Al opened up to Olivier.
Yes. And who pushed the story forward in this episode?
Olivier, obviously. She found a way to defeat Sloth, she agreed to help the Elrics, and she used her feminine charms to deceive Raven.
Yes, I totally agree with that. All right.
And that's the episode. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Next week we will be on a brief hiatus because of summer vacation, and we'll be back next time.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Bye.